guys are doing. We're not, manufacturing is turning into technology. So, welcome. I'd like to thank our sponsors for the day, especially Gulf Power, who has graciously paid for the breakfast this morning and clearly provide all the power. I think for this conference, if there was no power, we wouldn't have a job. So we really, really need to thank them. So they feed us and they give us a job. So thank you very much. By the way, before I finish, those awardees that are here last night for Inc., would you please stand up, the CEOs or the team members of that too? Randy Ramos, I see you, Vince, and Louis. These are big time. I'd like to introduce to you now one of our fearless leaders from the County Commission, the Escambia County, Grover Washington. Ramos. There you go. He's very multi-talented. Sorry about that, Grover.
Niles, thank you so much, and thank you for having me out here. The one thing I will say for Niles is I learned very early. Niels, I'm sorry. It makes me feel better. Makes me feel better. Niels said as I learned real quickly, you can't come out to the island in a tie and socks. So if I'm coming out here, they never let me do that. So that's why I'm certainly without today. And I see many of you enjoying things just the way we like to on Santa Rosa Island. So I hope you have a great day, informative day. But more importantly, I hope you get a chance to enjoy some of the amenities that are in Escambia County. Welcome to Northwest Florida and Escambia County. I can't think of a better place to be located for your type of business. As it was just said, you are the leaders of the next industrial revolution, and I think that is exactly right. And I want to just say that in Northwest Florida, South Alabama, and Escambia County in particular, we want to find ways that you can do your business here. Make it so that you can be a part of this community and that you can grow your business and your employees and be a real asset to this community. We see Northwest Florida as growing in this sector, and we want you to be the leaders in whatever we can do to make that happen. I did sort of the thunder was stolen. I certainly wanted to recognize again AppRiver, Absolute Consulting, FitWizard, GBSI, Dixert, MS Expert Service, and Overgroup. That is super, the designation that those companies received, and all of those here in Northwest Florida prove that this industry can thrive here in this community. We want to do all that we can to support you in your growth and find a way to make sure in Northwest Florida and South Alabama that you have the opportunity to grow your company and continue to be a viable part of this community. Again, thank you very much for being here. Welcome to Escambia County. Please spend some time and enjoy it and get a chance. It's great you're going to learn a lot in here, network, but take some time to go outside and enjoy the amenities. Just a normal day here in Escambia County, and we certainly appreciate you being here.
One thing that we talked about last night just briefly, and this kind of ties to what Grover was saying. Steve Jobs had a quote that I think it was something to the effect of creativity is done by connecting things. And there's the old adage of, are we really good at connecting dots? And one of the things we talked about last night is that, yes, I think everybody in here, and certainly the winners last night, are really, really good at connecting dots. And that's the 5%ers. But what they also are, and what every single person in here are too, is the 1%ers. And I call that the dot makers. Right? You're making dots. You're thinking about the future. Everything you do, if you're a software guy or developing hardware, you're sitting there inventing things, and you can deliver quickly. So one of the things that Jim Collins talked about was that we're really good in America. Jim Collins, he wrote Good to Great, Great by Choice. We're really good at innovation in this country. But what makes us great, because there are a lot of other great inventors and innovators on the planet, is that in America we can deliver and we can scale. And that's what you guys do. So the next person I'd like to introduce, and pay and give thanks to is the Greater Pensacola Chamber and Vision 2015, the Campaign for Economic Development. I want to introduce Gary Houston.
Well, good morning. It's a tremendous time to be in Pensacola, in my opinion, and frankly, it's tremendous for Pensacola, Escambia County, Northwest Florida, to have you all here today. Welcome. I'm astonished at the size of this meeting. I had the privilege of attending the reception last night. I know from looking around that many of you did too. I thought I would just share with you briefly some impressions, my impressions, subjective, the difference perhaps between perception and reality. But what I saw last night was a room full of people. I saw a bunch of businesses that, to my mind, did not appear to be so much in competition with each other, but the diversity of your markets. You've gone out, you have very different markets, and what really struck me was how supportive you are of each other and how encouraging you are of each other. And that is remarkable, it's wonderful, it's special, and I sincerely hope that you all can continue that kind of a relationship with each other, because that is what ties us to this community. The Chamber is pleased to have a role in this. Vision 2015 is pleased to have a role in this. Our mission in Vision 2015 is to bring 3,000 new jobs to this community by the year 2015. We believe that we will exceed that target. We're already starting to think in terms of the 2020 initiative. The one thing I do want to leave with you, beyond platitudes perhaps, is that I don't see many of you all at chamber meetings. And for that reason, I think it's important to get the word out to you that Pensacola Chamber of Commerce is the economic development arm of Escambia County and the city of Pensacola. And we have money. That may be of interest to you. And yes. This is an exciting time for Pensacola. There's Restore Act money. Grover Robinson, had that name on? Grover has been very instrumental in getting this Restore Act money. There is money right now that Rick Harper at UWF has under his administration. The Governor's Closing Fund has a lot of money. Florida's Great Northwest, which is an economic development arm of the region, has money. If you all have projects, this is a tremendous time to come forward, contact Scott Luth at the Chamber of Commerce. We have incentives for you. We want you to thrive. So please get in touch with us. Really, that's probably the most important thing I could say. So, Neil, thank you very much. I hope y'all have a wonderful conference.
This really is the land of opportunity, and I can say that as an immigrant myself from Denmark. I love Denmark, but it's too boring over there. It's too expensive, and you don't have the opportunities like you do here in the United States. And sometimes it's hard to really see the forest for the trees. But take a trip abroad if you haven't done it already, and then come back and appreciate the United States of America and everything that you can do when you want to in this country. Hallelujah. And thank you for all. Anybody, probably a lot of service people here, or former service, or those that support the United States security services and military. Please give yourselves a round of applause and thank you for your service. I'm going to introduce a couple of friends of mine, Tad and Travis. I told them earlier that I'm going to call them TNT, because when they're going to tell you what this is all about, they're going to be explosive. They're going to talk about Innovation Coast. Tad Eames is president and CEO of a company called Avalex. He's a rock star when it comes to business, and phenomenal leader in our community as well. Travis is with H2 Performance Consulting, and just so you know, they were number 430. What number? 439.
139.
Oh, 139. 139 last year on the Inc. 500 list, and they're right over there. And well, everybody here, please go and spend some time with all the exhibitors. They're why we had this event. They're paying for it. So if you ever exhibit at other conventions, you know they're paying. If if no one shows up, go over there and talk to them. They're here for a reason. They're here to help you. Okay. And then there's also, by the way, a passport in your packet. If you walk around, make sure you spend some time with your exhibitors and get those signed off, because at the end of the day, we're going to draw for an iPad. Okay? I was hoping it would be a new iPhone 5, but iPad is very good. I guess the iPhone's not ready till Friday. So, I'd like to introduce Tad and Travis. They're going to be talking about innovation.
Good morning. There's an exciting initiative afoot, and many of you have heard about it, and we get to speak on it this morning. So I'll just cover some quick topics and give you a history of this initiative. We'll go through some of the things that the group has been doing at the high level and the subcommittee level. We've drafted a mission statement. We have some high-level goals, some to-do items. We have an organizational plan moving forward. We have partnerships. So that's what we're here to talk about.
One of the things that we're talking about today is something we're calling Innovation Coast. We went through a bunch of different ideas on what the name should be. But, it says up here that approached a group of technology companies. Well, really what happened is about 10 years ago, I moved back to Pensacola. You'll find that it has a strange power over you. And just started meeting a bunch of people, and it was really a common theme when we started getting together and talking about a bunch of different things, that we have just such a great area here. Pensacola is almost like a hidden jewel. And the reality is when you look around, you don't see a lot of technology companies, but here today, everybody's gathered. So that's what we wanted to do. We said, gosh, how can we make this area just this fantastic place? And it's increasing the visibility of technology companies, but really banding together, identifying who are the technology companies that are here, and let's start the dialogue. And then as we started banding together, we realized we had some common things that we were all working towards. How do we improve our businesses? How do we help other people get over some of the humps? I started as a man and a dog in a garage, and I know if I could have asked some people, hey, how do I avoid the train wreck that I might have? That would have been really, really helpful. And that facility wasn't there. So we started talking about it. What were the common things? How do we attract other companies? How do we get together and create what we're calling the critical mass? So then we put this concept together. We had our first meeting, and now we've had a total of 6 meetings where we fine-tuned our mission, our goals, and some of the organizational details. And we're going to have a big first get-together that we'll talk about a little bit.
Why was this needed? So Bentina Terry from Gulf Power, she's been extremely helpful, and we really want to thank Gulf Power for all they've done to help this initiative get going. She provided me some statistics from the Florida Chamber Foundation and other sources. Basically, the high-tech business formation and venture capital numbers and R&D numbers for all of Florida are fairly low when you consider that we're, what, the 4th most populated state and should be the 3rd most populated state very soon. So business formation ranks 20th in the nation for innovation-based businesses. Less than 1% of the early stage venture capital funding comes to Florida. And you can see some of the numbers there. The VC deals, fairly low. I think that ranks 12th in the country. Patents issued, and R&D per week, fairly low spend per capita. So those numbers, like I said, being a technology company here, you already know it's a struggle. It's a struggle to grow and to attract the right type of talent here. So we thought we were stronger together than going against each other.
So one of the things we tried to do was identify what were those items that we could put together as a group to move forward. And there's the Regional Innovation Acceleration Network, which has a very interesting model of all the things that we would put together. But what we see ourselves being an innovation coast is the glue. How do you put together the companies in the area to bring together VCs and to bring together the experience, the knowledge, so that we can prosper as a group? Because that's one of the things that we found in Northwest Florida. In Central Florida, in Tampa, there's an existing network, we called it an ecosystem, to help companies grow and prosper. But in Northwest Florida, now that we've started uncovering how many companies are here, and you'll see on the last page that we've reached out quite a bit, but the idea is to keep that effort going, to try to create this support network for all the technology companies in our area.
Some of the high-level goals that we drafted as a group of companies and partners include showcase the technology community by creating a common brand. So when you travel around the country, as many of us do, and Tad's always traveling somewhere exciting, you tell them where you're from, and there's really, from a technology company standpoint, they don't know a whole lot about what's going on here. So that branding, putting that branding out there, a platform where they can land if they're searching for this area in technology, somewhere where they're, if you look at places like Silicon Valley, Research Triangle Park, Austin, and you search on the right key terms, you're going to land at a common page on each of those places, because they've basically done this and got it all together. The second one we said was we want to strengthen and grow the technology-based companies in the Pensacola Bay Area by providing a forum for tech to collaborate and support each other. We want to bring new technology-based companies to the area by working with our partners to market the area as a tech hub. So a lot of places, the Ryan Project calls it synergistic clusters. That's too hard to say, so tech hub is good, or technology ecosystem, I think is what our members would use. Create a better workforce through our marketing efforts, as well as our collaborations with partners to create, attract, and retain the appropriate talent. What we find is that the top talent in the country is attracted to these clusters. Right? They don't want to really go out there and take the risk of being out there, having a business fail on them, and then they have to move again. So they're really attracted to these regional clusters.
So we came up with a list of action items because, as I said, we've been through 6 different meetings, and we wanted to keep the energy going and the inertia going. And one of the things that we all found was a common point that Travis just brought up. How do we retain talent? How do we attract talent? And then once we reach that critical mass, how do we keep that rolling? So one of the things we said is, you can do a posting on Monster, you can do postings in different places, but if people are looking and want to come to Pensacola, why don't we create a place where member companies of the Innovation Coast can put up job postings, people who want to come back to Pensacola, and we find those all the time, people who say, hey, I went through here, I was flying in the Navy, I really want to find a way to come back, but now I'm living in Charlotte, or something similar to that. So people could submit resume submissions to the website. So as you see, this glue is starting to come together. The Innovation Coast with the brand, with the website is going to play a big role. Another thing that we learned in the research, there's a group called the Tampa Bay Technology Forum. It was identified by Gulf Power and other research. And one of the things that they said, was that events were very important. And most recently, the Tampa Bay Technology Forum had our own Ken Ford at IHMC as a speaker at one of their events. The other thing I mentioned this briefly earlier was mentoring. What happens if you come up with the next great idea, whether it's an iPhone app, you want to create a piece of hardware, a piece of software, or you have the next best idea for a service you can offer? How do you get that started? And the truth is most entrepreneurs do not succeed on their first time out. I don't know, some of you may have, I sure didn't. Alex, my company, is the fourth company I started. The other ones, they were great learning experiences, right? So how do we accelerate people's success? How do we share that experience? How can, Holly and Hazel share their experience? Travis, how can I share our experience creating electronics? So that's what we want to do, is take that experience so that Bob can say how he's done with government contracts and some of the great experiences and some of the challenges. But we want to be able to share that with member companies to accelerate growth in our area. But then one other big key is, how do you find the people that are out there starting out? How do you identify who the member companies are? And that's one of the challenges. You can't do a six-coach search on finding just that right person who may not have the time to get on a list to be identified. So what we're going to try to do is make it very obvious, very public with the Innovation Coach website, where people can sign up. You can get a database of companies, what they want, and the top type of technology they're using.